You won't find much people in the world who can answer all your problems. You won't find much people in the world who can give you the real advice and help you out with your situation. And by real advice, I mean not just theoretical but practical. Today on TET, we have among us Mrs. Suman Gupta, who is not just an economist, not just a counselor, not just a mentor, but one of those few people who can give you the real advice. Due to time constraint, we couldn't cover each and every topic and have to just stick to the mental health issue. Mental health issue is such which is not talked much about, but everyone knows its importance. We hope you like our episode and make the most out of the conversation. Enjoy the conversation, guys. What's good, you guys? Welcome to the very first episode of TT, the Essential Talk. Today we have among us Mrs. Suman Gupta, a very renowned economist, a great counselor, a great life coach. Basically, one of those person who have everything within them. It's an honor to have you on our show, ma'am.
It's my pleasure.
So, before we start, I always wanted to ask you this. I know you since 2016 or 2017, I guess, and all over these years, you have seen me, you have seen everything, me clearing each and every entrance exam, and even the recent dull and the down phase. So, how does this make you feel? I am sitting in front of you taking your interview.
I feel absolutely great, and it's a sheer pleasure to be interviewed by you, to take my opinion by you. And you had always been very hardworking. You always wanted to achieve, and that is why probably you are launching for the first time, which is going to be very useful for the masses. And I really wish you all the best, Yatharth, for all your endeavor for the future.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your words. As I mentioned that you have knowledge of almost every topic, but due to time constraint, of course, we'll be sticking to mental health only. Personally, I feel that nowadays people are dealing with their mental health way more than the physical health. And for that, I guess one of the main reason is the social stigma. So can you just give the audience a basic idea of what social stigma is and how is it related to mental health?
Yatharth, mental health, as you said, this word had been used for ages, but now it has come out in the open. And especially in a country like India, where we have excellent demographic dividend, we have very young population,
Right.
and now due to awareness, because of the lot of educational programs and apps, there is a stress and there is a stigma both.
Right.
Social stigma because man is a social animal.
Right.
Man must meet. See, we are distinctive from other human beings because we have emotions, we find emotional challenges. So a lot of things are there which is not being accepted by people.
True.
Due to interpersonal relationships, adolescents have their own stress, even children have their own stress. And now it has come out to be in the open.
True.
So when there is a social stigma is nothing, when you are not accepting how the person is, or there is a conflict or there is a disagreement, or your thought process and the other person's thought process is not similar.
Right.
So it is a lack of acceptance basically.
Okay.
And where people either they make themselves isolated, or they don't want to meet, or they feel very shy, or they feel very introvert. So these are the things which have started happening, and that there we find the need of counselors, psychologists and psychiatrists. It's important in a country like India where people are really not aware. It should be spread.
Right.
That this should also be accepted as a part of our life.
So basically, somewhere or the other are feeling a lack of being accepted, and that's why it's creating a stress.
Yes, I mean, like, people must understand. People
Right.
must come out in the open. And educational institutes play a very important role.
Right.
Mentors, teachers, professors, guide. So this should be published. They should be people should feel comfortable talking about their problems rather than keeping themselves with themselves.
Right.
And with this sedentary lifestyle, it is happening more. where people are more into gadgets, where we are digitally we are more connected,
Right.
and emotionally and physically we do not want to open up.
And man, personally, I feel that for this, social media is also one of the main reasons, because nowadays the role of social media has grown way more than it was related to entertainment. Like if we compare with the in the earlier years of the decade and now, the social media people are using more of social media for showing off their personalities and their lifestyle, which is at times are fake. So is it also responsible for hampering the mental balance?
Yes, absolutely. Because being a teacher, even we find a lot of children, and especially in this pandemic when the world came to a standstill,
Right.
where we were helpless, and somewhere these digital media saved us,
Right,
in the
right.
sense we were able to connect with the children, we were able to connect with others. But somehow, that emotion, that connect we lost. People, in fact, Yatharth, you must have seen in today's scenario, because of the nuclear families concept and because of the people, you will find, especially in urban areas, you will find men as well as women, both are working. Both parents are working,
Right.
and the child is left at the mercy of these gadgets, where the child also finds a solace, and parents, because of the lack of time, they are also finding a solace.
Right.
So whatever time, see, your cognitive skills, your analytical skills, your motor skills, the child when he goes to the school or when he meets people, all those skills are being utilized.
Right.
See, we are different from machines.
True.
Isn't it so? Like, we are different from robots. We are born with emotions. So, for example, right now we are having face-to-face interview.
Right.
And if you would have conducted on Zoom, things would have been little different.
Right. True.
Isn't it so?
Yeah,
So
sure.
your facial expression, your eye contact, your body posture, your positivity,
Right.
everything matters. And now your question is, yes, apps have made our life certainly better.
Right.
But children should be told, students should be told, and others should be told that how it has created a gap, a
Right.
huge gap between relationships. Right, spouse or brother or sister or siblings or teacher or students. So what I used to do online, I'm very
Yeah.
happy that the schools are finally, they have reopened, and universities are also, everybody seems to be happy. Because obviously what you do at workplace and what you do online,
Right.
it is entirely different.
I would like to just ask you this question that since you mentioned that the world came at a halt.
Yes.
So how was your lockdown?
My lockdown, as you can see, I'm a perfectly extrovert person. I need to meet people, I need to interact with people, I need to express myself, I need to share my feelings, and that is one of the reasons that I do not even take a single leave from my school, because I love going out, dressing up and meeting people.
Right.
So for me it was very challenging, and it was something which we had never seen.
Yeah.
See, I'm so old and confined to the four walls, where you just have to open your laptop. There were technical challenges also. I had to learn so many things from my daughter. She had to teach me because I was not that tech savvy,
Right.
Isn't it? So then making children open their cameras and interacting with them,
Right.
explaining them. So it was definitely challenging, even though I'm like, fine, you're within the comfort zone. I'm like, you're taking classes, and then, but still, for people who are very active, people who want to go out, people who want to dress up,
Right.
and we had to accept this harsh reality because the entire world. And thankfully, we teachers, it's a salute to the entire teaching fraternity, that how well we had been able to manage, because learning is important. It should be a continuous process,
Right,
Yatharth,
right.
isn't it? So it
Right.
should not stop.
Yeah, learning, of course, like there is another update every day. So how can learning be stopped?
How can learning be stopped? So learning keeps taking place, as
Right.
I say, but then conservative approach, or conventional approach,
Right.
that teacher needs students and student need teachers.
Ma'am, my next question to you is, of course, even after a lot of awareness schemes by the government and a lot of controversies like the SSR suicide case, I think somewhere or the other the Indian mindset is very what should I say? It's very old related to the mental health. I guess it is still considered a very taboo subject. So, would you like to throw some light on this?
Yes, Yatharth, see, things are changing, world is changing, especially in India you will find that ours was a conventional society, right?
Right.
We were living in joint families, then came the concept of nuclear families and everybody started working and all. So when you're talking about mental health, we were never taught. For example, from the beginning, whenever I had mood swing or I did not feel like talking, my mother always used to say, "Arey sab theek ho jayega. You have good food, or you take nice sleep, or you did not, you know." So from the beginning, it had never been exposed. It was never being spoken about. Mental illness, for example, Yatharth, if I have to say, we have number of schools in India. They are mushrooming day by day. We have companies, we have institutes, we have organizations, but hardly they keep counselors. You know, the moment we use the word counselor, there is always it triggers in your mind. Probably, but something is wrong. You know. Either she's consuming something or she's not keeping herself well. So for us, external well-being and internal well-being, both are absolutely different.
I guess it's more of a like people take you as insane if you are talking about counseling.
Yes, counseling. I mean, like, see, in my era, it had never been there. Now, counseling has two meanings: professional counseling, where the child can choose, right? And there is another counseling where they say reformation of behavior, emotions. You know, if emotions, see, you are not giving a landing here. The child is not able to find within the same four walls, you know, something to be listened about. Because see, mental health, any cause can be there. You feel scared, you feel inferior, you feel very low, you feel very high, you are very low in energy, you become antisocial, you don't feel like meeting people. So instead of finding the cause out, right, and instead of, like, you know, helping the child out, so neither the parents and nor the, like, you know, obviously because teachers are not trained here. Teacher cannot be a counselor. I also, having too many years of experience, having so many children, after observing so many children all together, had come to this kind of a conclusion. Right, Yatharth? So for this, I believe, like in my school, I have seen they conduct a lot of workshops where boys and girls, both of them are made to sit together. We talk about their problems. There are adolescents' problems. There are teenager problems. And same thing, CBSE is also taking initiative. But since, as I said, again, an economic problem, we are huge in numbers. So a government initiative is also there. Delhi government had taken this initiative of opening happiness index in the curriculum, incorporating. So such kind of things might solve this problem. But I believe everybody's cooperation will only make people speak about it more. If we resort to old practices, just say, for example, you will find, you know, in the villages, situation is horrible. If somebody is feeling low, or somebody is not well, or somebody does not want to speak, then they take to babas or some, like, you know, you've seen pandits, you know, so they start believing those superstition beliefs, you know. So that also needs to be told. So in fact, this should be scientifically designed, the syllabus, and both, I believe, state government and central government. And it should be incorporated both in the schools and at the university level. Yes.
And somewhere, I guess this whole idea has been like it is being guided by the movies as well. Like, okay, the boys are going to be tough, because I feel boys are more in like victims of such kind of a thing, rather than girls, because I guess they are good in expressing their feelings and all. But boys are really not that capable of feeling, like expressing themselves. So, but nowadays I guess movies also, like the Dear Zindagi, in that also it was being pointed out that people often take like mind is not a part of the body. And the whole problem starts from the mind only. So, how should we bring awareness, like you already pointed out, but I think there is this thing that people should be much more aware about, is the constructive criticism and the destructive criticism. Because all the problems are, I guess, nowadays social media, people are spending like whole day on the social media, and there are of course positivity also and negativity also over there. So how can we make a difference between like both the terms?
Yatharth, as you were saying, first of all, I mean, like when you're talking about boys or girls, we talk about equity, and everybody in India talks about girls' rights. You know, girls are more vocal, girls have problems, right? In our country, somehow, you know, I feel really pity on you boys, right? Isn't it? So your rights are not that important as girls' rights are.
Right.
Even though they are coming out to be in the open, but then as I told you, as we raise the boys,
Yeah.
right? We want them to be emotionally strong. They should not cry. They
Right.
should not confide. All these things have been taught. These are all stereotyped.
Exactly.
So that stereotype needs to be broken. Those things need to be taken out in the open.
Like it's all in your head stereotype.
It's all in your head.
Yeah.
And like as you said, there are web series, there
Yeah.
are documentaries, there are things, just for example, if we talk about homosexuality,
Right,
it was
right.
criminalized
Yeah.
prior to 2020.
Yeah.
But now people have started
Accepting
gradually
it and all.
accepting it. So it had been there, in ancient times also, if you will see those kings and queens, they
Right.
were involved in such practices, but it never came out to be in the open. People were not aware of it. So basically, I feel Yatharth, like if we make people read, if we make, see, become human capital when there is one of the sources, information.
Yeah.
So information in the part of notices, information in the part of pamphlets, information in the part of curriculum. So when people are made to aware about such things,
Right.
at least we'll find some solace.
Yeah.
Some steps can be taken.
Right.
Like majorly you will find good schools and good universities have already started working on it. Mental health, because as I said, India has the most youth
Right.
population,
Yeah.
in the entire world. So we, as youth representative, you people can bring the change. This is what I feel.
And as you mentioned about the king and the older like Indian history, and of course I am into a bit of spirituality and all. So I guess the change came after the colonial period. I guess they just destroyed, because we can see the various temples are there. Where we can just easily see homosexual figures. They have the arts and all, which depicts homosexuality.
Yes.
That, and we can, of course, one can easily make out that this thing existed in India
Absolutely.
way before it was known to the whole world.
Yes.
So, ma'am, my next question to you is, I mean, like it's okay, like one is dealing with such kind of a problem, and we should not make a big deal out of it.
Yes.
But of course, it's very distracting at times. And so, how can just one make sure that I need to focus on the work and just kind of dodge the feeling or the memories that come? Because I have been the victim of the same, and I got scolded by you. And but mind you guys, I have never been scolded by her for my academics ever in my life. This was the very first time she scolded me. So, ma'am, how can one just easily
See,
make it
Yatharth,
focus?
change is inevitable. Changes in your body is inevitable, right? You have to accept it. It's a gradual process.
Right.
The problem with it comes with the people who are not open up.
Right.
Everybody cannot be same.
Yeah.
Just say, for example, my daughter is not same as I am.
Right.
Wherever I am, I can talk to the stranger at peace. I don't have any problem.
Right.
Right? You're also not type of a person, and mostly nowadays adolescents and teenagers I have seen, you do not confide with anyone and everyone.
Right.
They say the other day I was speaking in my school, if some problem is there, if some girl is not talking to you, like to a particular boy, or somebody has broken your heart, at least go and speak. Every mom I know will not react in the same manner, but instead of posting on Instagram or instead of posting on any social where you can be a mockery, I mean, like it can be, people can make fun out of you, it is better that find out good people lending ears.
Right.
In fact, and this is, in fact, I as a mom also would not like to spend so much on therapists or professional help.
Right.
But I think now institutes should look into it, and they should have, for example, after every 500 students there should be one counselor.
Right.
Right? So, for example, there are many schools where at every level you will find, So, counseling does not mean that they need changing you.
Alright.
It means reformation. Whatever
Okay.
problems you have been facing, people talk about their problems.
Right.
People give lending ears, but they do not give solution. And solutions cannot be given by anyone and everyone.
Right.
Isn't it? So this is a major problem here. Just say, for example, even if you have confided in your mom, she
Right.
will ask somebody else.
Yeah.
And that somebody else will ask somebody else.
Right.
So, after filtering that information, whatever comes to you, you will not accept it.
But I think one of the main problems is the generation gap as well. Like, of course, the generation of our parents was not facing such issues at such an early stage. But I guess even a student of class 9th or 10th is facing such phases in his life or her life. Oh, that girl is not talking to me, or I have so much pressure on me. Like like parents send their students to Fiji since very long to clear IITs and all, and this like it creates a pressure which builds up over the time, and it suddenly just bursts out, and then people are like, oh, what is pagal ho gaya? So what about the generation gap?
Generation gap, it will, as I said, bridging the gap is important.
Right.
But how to bridge that gap? Generation like you people say you do not know anything.
Yeah.
That is not there.
Okay.
Make them watch what you are watching.
Okay.
Make them understand.
Right.
I was also, I did not like the idea of homosexuality, as I said, or lesbians. My daughter used to tell me, this is not meant for you. You will not enjoy watching it. You will not like it. Slowly and gradually, when she started speaking about it, when she started showing me,
Right.
I started accepting that these are humans, they have this natural instinct, right? And it should be their right.
Alright.
We cannot decide, you know.
Right.
So, you know, for example, when we talk about caste, or when you talk about any studies, or when you talk about any other topic, see, if I do not have knowledge, so then it becomes a duty of the so-called new generation to give that knowledge. Instead of
Alright.
saying that, you know, that you people do not know.
Right.
You do not get into it. So instead of using those things, find out and show. You take a laptop or a tab and show it to your mother, this is how it is.
Right.
Right? So, and you know, it should be fusion. See, whatever practices we had, just say my mother had made me understand very well, you know, during menstruation time, it was a taboo. Yatharth, we never used to speak about it.
Right.
And it was,
Yeah.
in fact, you must have seen, even in Indian television during those ads, they were showing blue. They
Right.
were color. They were
Right.
not showing the red color.
Right. Yeah.
Now you can see that social taboo is decreasing, declining day by day. So my mother had given me a very scientific reason.
Right.
She said, since you had been menstruating for 3 days, your body needs rest.
Alright.
Right? So I don't want you to get into the kitchen and do household chores. You take rest and I'll pamper you.
Right.
So there is a way of explaining. Right? You know, they
Alright.
say you should not say that, for example, we were forbid not to worship. We
Yeah.
were forbid not to touch so many
Right,
things.
right.
So I mean, like, did not like the idea. But now, since we can speak vocally, we can speak very boldly. So boys, I really do not understand that point of time, Yatharth. When something is being shown, boys and girls should be shown together.
Right.
So if they are being shown that these are the body parts and these are like two opposite things, you know,
Right.
and they do get attracted, and where is the correct time? When is the right time to get in touch or to get involved?
Right.
Isn't it? So from the beginning, if we tell them about good or bad,
Right.
from the beginning, right? So these things, I think, slowly and gradually, even older generation will start understanding.
So basically, you are seeing like with time the need changes.
Yes.
Like in the early years of the child, like the way parents teach them everything, over the time you should also teach the parents that this is how it is.
Absolutely. Because when you say that you people do not know,
Right.
so please don't get into it.
Yeah.
For example, you are in a very foul mood,
Right.
right? Your father asks, as a father, see, you should understand, Indian parents are very concerned.
Right.
They will treat the child as a child till he or she gets married.
Right.
Right? So
Right.
age is not a bar.
Yeah.
So out of concern they are asking. And the people become irritated for you. What? They interfere. There is constant interference in our life.
Right.
There is a constant. So there is a way that communication gap should be bridged.
Bridged.
That is why we say that family should practice having dinner together.
Yeah.
Family should have practice of having breakfast together.
Right.
That is why, and this is what was happening in ancient times.
Right.
People were having meals together. Yatharth, then this was not a mental illness because they were speaking about it.
Right.
And on the other side, if you will say, like gents were eating separately, ladies were eating separately. So slowly and gradually we made those changes, you know, now
Right,
everybody
right.
eat together, you know. Isn't it so? Now the problem is that if you're hooked to your phone, and if you're hooked with your gadget, or if you think that my mother does not know how to operate it,
Right.
and you don't give her that right, then these things are going to.
Ma'am, as far kind of read lot of psychology related
Yes,
books.
yes.
So one thing I have noticed is there are two different terms which are often misconstrued and mixed by the people. One is the postpartum depression and the other is bipolar mood disorders. So often people just confuse between them, and maybe a person is dealing with a serious condition but they just take it like, yeah, it's just a mood swing and nothing else. So how can one make a difference between the two?
As per my knowledge, Yatharth, because I have also faced the same problem, and I believe this was 25 years, 22, 23 years back.
Right.
So when I was expecting and when I was having after my pregnancy, I was really do not know how to raise my child, how to take care of it.
Right.
Since I had not learned those things beforehand.
Right.
So as you said, your postpartum is something which you have post-pregnancy blues or baby blues. You really do not know. That is very temporary.
Okay.
That is for let's say 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks. So till the time I was able to handle the baby nicely, I had those blues.
Okay.
And most of the women, in fact, nowadays women feel more because they are career oriented.
Right.
Right. You will find them ladies to be marrying little late.
Right.
Then bearing child little late,
Yeah.
then handling these problems become a huge problem.
Right.
Again, they are not being trained. Gone are the days,
Yeah.
when people were really. And bipolar is, I mean, like, this is a serious issue, I feel. This
Okay.
persists and this happens for a longer period of time if it is not taken care of.
Right.
Here, there is an anxiety level which can be very high. There can be a fear which can be very high or low. This happens, Yatharth, what I feel is when you keep yourself confined and you're not talking.
Right.
Even in the crowd, you're alone.
Yeah.
When you do not have a group of people or individuals with whom you can confide.
Right.
Or when you had seen paparazzi, basically in Bollywood, you'll find a lot of people like this.
Yeah.
They're having this kind of a life.
Right.
Isn't it so? So you'll find them in the party, they're being very good, and all of a sudden you'll find them to be either the BP has gone up or their anger has gone up or they start crying bitterly. They really do not know what has to be done.
Right.
So this issue is and it is difficult also to identify.
Yeah.
For this, I advise everybody what I have read, you really seek professional help.
Right.
Instantly and immediately.
Ma'am, like often people say, even the counselors say that switch to spirituality or just try meditation. But I feel that all these things do help, but up to a certain level, you need a stability in your mind for these things to work. And when one is put into such situation, the mental stability is not at all present there.
Excellent question has been asked by you because we preach.
Right.
Right? We write something on the paper and give it.
Yeah.
Isn't it so? We cannot be philosophical. It has to be practiced.
Right.
You have to give a viable solution. As I said, mind.
Yeah.
Isn't it so? So mind and body, both of them, mind will listen, body will listen only to the mind.
Right.
And then mind needs to be settled.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. Suppose you bought a new car.
Yeah.
You're very happy.
Right.
You're driving the car. All of a sudden you get news that somebody in your family is not well.
Yeah.
That car will not give you pleasure. That
Yeah.
the new car where you're sitting
Yeah.
is not giving you pleasure.
Right.
So for that you need to practice as I said. We need to tame our mind. And taming our mind means assertion should be written.
Right.
I'm like, there are a lot of religion, good practices as you said.
Yeah.
If you talk about Jainism or Buddhism, you can put paper somewhere where you can pen down your feelings, where you can write down your feelings, how you need to be self-focused. It takes time.
Right.
It is, in the era of instant food where you have instant Maggi and instant coffee.
Yeah.
So instant solution cannot be given. Really.
Right.
It is a time-taking process, and your generation needs an instant solution.
Exactly.
Today I am not well, so when we talk about sessions,
Right.
just say for example, then they think that the professional help is making money. No, it does take time.
Right.
As I said, body might get healed up. It may be a week or 4 days fracture. Fifth week you might. So and it is subjective.
Right.
Isn't it
Yeah.
so? You can tame quickly, and
Yeah.
the other cannot.
Exactly.
You can control your mind
Yeah.
quickly, the other cannot. As in your case, you said,
Yeah.
in the unconscious mind, it was always there.
Right.
You were trying yourself hard. In such cases, I always advise that you need to make yourself tired, fatigued.
Right.
In the sense, you have to get yourself to be so productive that you do not get time, because thought process comes, or
Right.
this disturbance comes only when you give fillers in your mind.
Yeah.
So when there are no fillers,
Right.
when you're already preoccupied,
Yeah.
when you say I don't have time, then these things do not float.
Right.
That is why they advise you walk, go for a walk, go for
Right.
jogging, do aerobics, do dance, do singing. All this advice which is being written by a counselor or diet regime, or this is to control those hormones of your body, which
Right.
work over time.
So, like you mentioned that the generation needs instant,
Yes.
like instant ideas, instant results. And somewhere I feel like it is also because of the social media. Like the social media day by day are like giving new update, like 30-second video and 15-second video. So I guess the human mind is losing the focus that it had earlier. Like I mean, earlier they used to read books, and it took time to read a 100-page book or a
Absolutely.
200-page book. It took
Yes,
time.
yes.
But now it's just that like okay, within a fraction of a second you get a lot of information, you read a lot of things over net. So I guess that is also one of the main issue. So ma'am, my next question to you is like towards the end, I would like to just ask this thing. Okay, of course we get to meet a lot of people who are dealing with mental stress. Of course, our friends, our family members, and all. So in this, of course, they come to us for take advice so that we can help them out. So how can we maintain our mental psyche and not get driven by their problems? So any advice for that?
See, this Diwali, I gave one tagline to my students: detox yourself. That is, stay away from social media.
Okay.
Please keep those apps in your phone which are useful and can enhance your productivity.
Right.
Right? If meet people really and
Yeah.
physically instead virtually. That gives you more tension, that gives you more stress. So go for a walk, as I said, have healthy food, be
Yeah.
close to the nature, serve society, serve community, there will be no stress.
Right.
Right?
So thank you so much, ma'am, for
Yeah, it was
like,
all my
coming on the
pleasure.
show. And
Thank
of
you so
course,
much.
this was the first episode.
I wish you all the best. You really do very well.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Of course, we are looking forward for more podcasts.
Right.
So this was the of course mental health special. The other one is going to be economic special.
Yeah. So wishing
So,
you all the best.
thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So that was for today's episode, folks. As I mentioned, due to time constraint, we couldn't cover everything, but we hope that you found it useful and interesting. For more such episodes, kindly follow us on every social platform and kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much.